So welcome. It's what, Friday 522. The first thing we're going to do, clean up this MT4 installation. Like I mentioned, this was my demo one, but for today's webinar I threw a $15 live account on it. So as we had a request to see what trading, because Traders Way, if you happen to use them, will let you open up an account for 10 bucks. If you're demoing or you just want to get the feel for real money, it's a quick, easy way to do it. So first we're going to go into File, Open Data Folder. Now the one drawback of this, what I'm going to do, is going to delete all my history, which is going to cause when I reopen it, it's going to have to download for a second before the charts kick in. I got 30 charts. So I did Tools, or File. I'll do it again slower. I did File and Open Data Folder. And then we go to History. And you can see I have Traders Way Demo and Traders Way Live. We're going to clean out both just in case. I'm just going to do Control A and delete. You can see how much shit it is by the amount of time it's taken to delete. And now we're going to go back to history. We're going to go into the live. Let's kill that one too. And remember, I got like 30 charts open, so it may run a little bit slow. Let's see, next we go into logs. And just so we can see, size isn't too bad on these, but we're going to kill them. Let's tell it skip and skip. The reason we're skipping those two is those are the two that are currently open right now. And I believe that's it. Let's see, logs, history config, profiles, templates, tester. That pretty much is it. We're going to shut down MT4 and then reopen it. And hopefully we'll be running a little bit faster. Again, it's going to have to download the initial data, so we might get waiting for update when this opens up. With 30 charts, either way, it takes a little bit to open up. Before, though, this wasn't even moving. It was getting to this screen. It was taking a minute or two, so it's looking a little better. And if you missed what I'm doing, I'm cleaning out MT4. I had a demo account that I switched to live, and it was running super slow. We're going to review charts next, and then we'll get into Forex. I still need to upload the indicators and everything. Today's mostly going to be scripts. The scripts I'm going to be using. I'm not going to focus on actual setups. What I'm going to focus on is how to manage a trade once it's open and what we're looking for to get into a trade. And next week we're going to look at setups. This week is how to control the trade, basically. The week before was the indicators and the setup. Much better. So we're up and running. Okay, so let's take a look at charts. Let's see. Let's start off with one of the things that happened, I guess. One of the guys in my group who was doing very, very, very good. And I don't know if he's live or not, but he kind of lost it, had a bad week, and had a 60% drawdown. It's going to happen. He basically, from what I understand from what he wrote me, just lost his patience. When you're trading, I mean, honestly, it is a grind. And sometimes it's going to wear on your nerves. If that happens, my best advice, and it's the same thing I told him, is take a break for a week. For him, just to make him feel better, don't feel too bad, because we have a member in our group who went from a $250 account to a $24,000 account down to a $40 account. So don't feel bad at all. It happens. For him, it was a learning, and since then, he's been doing a lot better. Let me do something real quick. I'm going to stop screen sharing and turn on mute.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay, so like I was saying, I mean, you had a bad week. Don't worry about it too much. again, we had a guy who literally took a 250 account up to 24,000 and then took it back down to $40, and that was live. That was real money. So the best advice I can give you is if you have a bad week or you just lose it and go ape shit stupid, is take a few days off. It'll help you clear your head. Hell, I mean, just the best thing you can do is take a break. If you want to hear the horror story, mine was 60,000. When I first started in 2008, I did 3 batches of 20,000, and I talked about it in the room. When I got my Forex account back up to around 50K, I ran into a wall, and I was afraid to take any trades. And Neo's the one who pointed it out. He goes, "That's about the amount that you lost. You probably have a freaking mental barrier in the head." And turned out it did. I've slowly scraped it up above 50, and it's going away. But I've I thought because I was successful at binary options that getting back into Forex would be easy, but I still had mental problems, so we all got it. Don't worry about it if you have a bad week. We're going to start off first, look at a couple charts, and then we'll jump into Forex. Again, I have to load up we're going to focus on Forex this week on controlling the trade. We are not going to focus on the proper setups. Proper setups will be next week. I'm going to show a few scripts that I use and how to modify them to let you to set trade amounts. Is the echo gone now? No. Log in and log out, and I'll pause for a minute while you do it and see if it goes away. Is anyone else getting an echo? Son of a bitch. It's always something. If you're getting an echo, just log in and log out. Okay, so if you have an echo, just log out, log in. Let me get the charts up and going. AUD USD. Did I get the right one? USD CHF. Let's start off with this one. We're going to be looking at, if you're not from the room, these are going to be TA trades, but they can pertain to anything. Let's see. The first one we're going to be looking at is USD CHF. I'm going to do, let's say... Okay, cool. Did you hear what Did everyone hear what I said about, if you have a bad week, and I mean a catastrophic week, if you've been doing well for a while, and you have a catastrophic week, it's happened to me. In the last 9 months, I had one week where I was hitting 58%. I could not get above it. No matter what I did, it seemed like and fucking is the word, every fucking trade I took went against me. It's time, just take a break. Remember, we are heading into summer. We are probably into summer, so be careful. Last year, I didn't pay attention, and in May, summer kicked in hard. So don't worry about it. Just be aware that summer's coming and adjust. You might want to bump up the time frame a little bit, take a break, work on Forex, whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Let me get a drink of water. Okay, so market is slightly downward range. We got a stair step moving up and down. So trading wise, this one was with the overall trend. Institutional wise, we got 1, 2, 3. Current market conditions, 1, 2. We'll count that one as 3. The PRP there, that's 4. Overbought, oversold 5. Confirm is 6. For me, good trade. I would say probably 3%. Only reason it wouldn't be 5 is because we're not in a pretty range. But let's take a look at result on it. That's the result on it. So you had a hell of a wall there. And again, this is what I said. Sometimes the trades are just not going to go for you. Remember, we are moving into summer, so you are going to see some funky shit going down now. Nothing wrong with the trade. You lost. Jesus. Summer trading typically will end in August. Basically what summer trading means, it's not that it's going to be horrible. It means we're going to have less tradable days for TA or mean reversion systems. All these systems you see out there now that are doing well, you're about to see people start bitching. I guarantee you're going to see people start bitching because they're going to start to fail. Reason being is just the lower time frames are going to become more hectic. So if you are trading one of these systems, I would highly advise keep track of your ITM OTM percentage, and if it starts dropping, you can always bump up a little bit on the time frames, but it's going to give you less trades most likely. just you need to be very aware of what's going on as summer sets in. What happens during summer is the hedge funds, the banks, the little shits, they all go on vacation in the Hamptons. Down here, this is volume. It dries up. We're not going to have as much volume. So what happens when we don't have as much volume? Smaller amounts of money are going to make bigger moves on the chart. So there's some people that take advantage of summer trading and will really push price around because they can do it for less money. So that pretty much sums it up. Let's see. Oh shit, that was the last one. Let's just scroll up again. Let's get a couple more. That's an itchy pullback. Anyone want to see an itchy pullback? What it looks like? Yeah, hell, let's do it since I teach it. Why do people always fuck around in Skype once I get on? Okay, so itchy pullback. Here's our K line. It hit it. I'm not seeing much confluence on it. So we have, if we're using Casper or the Cinco span, which is this green line, we have 1, 2 supports here. Other than that, not too much. Let's take a look. I would say on these, just be careful on them. And price did bounce up on it. This was his buy line right here. So it's a good example of how to do it, but it's a bad example in confluence-wise. We actually, it was somewhat of a support here. But I would look for more confluence on it, personally. What was I doing? Oh, next chart. Let me close this one. And find another one. Sorry, I'm looking through for some not winners. I don't want to show all winners, so. Okay, there we go. I got one. Okay, so this one's gonna be, I don't know. Not too sure where you took it. Let me go to the after on this one. And the issue was one of the last ones. What is this? AUD I am so lost today. Entry 5, 1, 2. Why do I see like 5 entries? Holy shit. Do we have a martingale run here? Is that what I'm seeing? Okay. Let's try and take this one from the start. Yeah, I think it is a hardcore martingale run, so I guess this will be a good example. Okay, so here's the trade. That looks like there was the itchy pullback one right before it. Oh, this is something different. And it's a loss. No real reason for the trade. There's no institutional. It's in the middle of our current market conditions. This is entry 3. This goes on for a bit, guys, so give me a sec. AUD. This was OTM3. Am I looking at the wrong chart? Because nothing's matching here. Give me a sec. Might be clicking the wrong ones. I'm so confused right now. Unless yours are out of order. This is entry 4. Entry 5. I'm bringing them all up. Okay, so let's start off 3, 4, and 5. Looks like you took a call here to go higher, if I'm guessing. Let's see. It says buy. So it looks like you're trying to go with the trend here. You actually had institutionals here, here, and here, so going with the trend probably wouldn't have been the wisest thing. Overall trend is neutral. We're looking at put stronger. The current trend, I'm sorry, is neutral, but put stronger, which means the overall trend is stronger. That was a loss, and then it looks like you took another buy. You did lose your mind, man. We're taking another buy with put stronger into institutionals. Not the best idea. Plus a daily open. Result of that was a huge drop down. It happens to the best of us, man. All I can say is this is a good example of what not to do, and he's already learned. So, and he's typically a very good trader. I have a hard time finding freaking OTMs on him. And result again. Looks like buy here, another trade. Okay, so I guess it's a good example of revenge trading and not into it. Let's take a look at a TA trade real quick again. This one, oh, this was the beginning of it. Got it now. So I've been going backwards, scrolling up in Skype, so it's been bringing up backwards. Sorry. This one was the first TA trade before the martingale string of going with the buys. This one we're overbought. Institutional wise, we already got 1, 2. This one might not come into play too much, but you could consider it kind of like a magnet pushing price. Daily opens right here, so we have 1, 2, 3 solid institutionals. So you could say 3.5 institutionals. Current market conditions are matching. Bollinger Bands were touched, the hourly fib was touched, and overbought. Results on this one, and it dropped. Okay, so this one would be an example of a 5% trade. I would take this one at 5%. Reason being is we have a relatively flat market. So we don't have momentum up, we don't have momentum down. The overall momentum on this thing is a put. Down here it tells you it's a put. So we're going overall momentum. It is matching what the overall chart's doing. This would be on a much higher time frame. It's dropping. 1, 2, 3.5 institutionals. Current market conditions are perfect. Bollinger's, hourly FIBO, and it's overbought. This for me is a 5% trade. So this one was done very well. The string we saw after that was pure insane because then you were going against the overall. Let's see, what do we have here? AUD USD. Did we look at this one? Nope, we didn't because I don't recognize that. One more, and then we'll move into the Forex fun. I have one new email, yay. Okay, so this one is AUD USD. Again, it's a nice flat. The range is kind of small, and it's riding the Bollinger Bands. What's the first thing we should be watching for, whether it's on here or not? When we see this type of formation, what are we watching out for? This should be in your head at all times. If no one knows it, I'm going to slap everyone and turn. Price consolidating like this and the Bollinger Bands, we're going into a BB squeeze. What we'd be looking for is price to break out. In other words, a spike up or down, a waterfall. Yeah, ignoring what's on the chart, whenever we see this formation, we always need to go into, I guess you could say, caution mode and start looking for a breakout to occur. When does a breakout typically occur? We'll have a candle close outside the range. Our warning candle for this would have been right here. Why is this the warning candle? Because here's our previous swing high, and it did close outside of this candle. Now then, what happens next is if we don't get a breakout, this is our next swing high, swing low, this area here. So we got a candle down, and we actually get a small breakout here, but not much of one. But this is a very good indication that you want to stay out of a reversal trade. We have a tight squeeze, candle closes lower than the range. We want to watch for a run. We get another candle down. Now this candle breaks below, but it hits enough confluence where it bounces back up. This would have been a warning candle here, though. A lot of people who trade Bollinger Bands, and this has nothing to do with TA. If you use Bollinger Bands as a means for entry, that's what you need to watch out for. Basically what we have is the bullet. We have a barrel on a gun forming, and when the bullet comes out of the gun, but in other words, the bullet coming out of the gun is signified by a candle breaking lower than the previous swing high and closing below that. That's your warning candle. Sometimes some people think that's a good candle to get on, but it's a warning candle. You really want to watch entry on that candle right here. Everyone understand why? Because it closed lower than this swing high. So that's your warning candle. That's the candle you watch out for. Now this one again was a warning candle, but what did this warning candle run into? It ran into a big round number, a 127.2 daily FIBO, a pivot point, and a Murray math. It was overbought, oversold. That would have been an excellent entry point right there. Now, since we know that's a warning candle, but we ran into a shit ton of confluence, my guys or anyone, trade-wise, what would you, and we're not looking at this trade, what would you have placed on this candle? 1, 3, or 5% knowing that it's a warning candle, but it just ran into a brick wall. There we go, 1%. We don't want to get freaking overexcited in anything. Go with the 1% conservative on it. Now, again, if you're turtle trading, what I do on these is I will turtle trade it. What I mean by turtle trade it, I'll do 1%, and then I will, and if this candle lost, I would not take another trade on this chart until I had a 3% or a 5% setup. Even if I get a 5% setup, due to money management, I will only take a 3% on this. So what you do, mark it down on a piece of paper if you lost this trade. 1% trade here, and I just mark down AUD, USD, 3%. So next time and if I got any more 1% setups, I would pass on them, and I'd wait for a 3% setup or a 5%, but I would not go 5%. I would only go 3%. Why? Because that keeps me within my 5% money management, and I get a second shot at the trade. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going into summer. I highly recommend the turtle trading. Next week we'll do that before we start up on the final Forex part of how I turtle trade. I highly recommend going into summer if the system you're using is drop out of 5% range. Do 1 and 3% trades. And initially is what you want to do is a 1% with a 3% recovery trade that will keep you at 4% of total, and that'll keep you within normal money management, but it's going to give you two shots at every trade. Second trade should always be a high probability one, a 3 or 5% trade. I know some of you don't have, I guess some of the people in the room aren't TA. This isn't pertaining to TA at all. When I say one of the things you want to do is have, most of you are, I mean, do we have any pure price action traders in this room? I guarantee probably 99% of y'all are in here are using alerts or indicators, if I'm correct. And let me show y'all something real quick. And it's just an idea for you. For my group, and it can be for any group, when you have trade setups, you should be able to rank your trade setups on how they work. You are one of the few, sir. Congratulations. Maybe you should run a webinar next time. Let me see if I can find it. Where the hell did I put it? I'm just going to show something real quick for you that that are other traders. Okay, you'll see here, and this is neither here nor there. It's just going to try and help you out. These, as you can see, this isn't TA trades, which is my group. This is itchy trades. What we have here is the trades are now classified. So it says strong, and it gives the reasons for a strong trade. Medium. So everything's been classified. This is Axis trades. Here's money management broken down for your trades. If you are trading and you're serious about trading, I highly recommend doing this so that you can have everything broken down to know what size trade you want to take. I know some people say, well, I just use 1% across the board, 3% across the board, 5% across the board. If you're using a system, you should know what is a weak, medium, and strong setup, and then classify it so that you have proper money management for it. It'll really help you out. One of the biggest things I see is people when they get into a trade, they don't know what to place on the trade, or they start missing out on a trade because they're fumbling around with numbers trying to figure out what your trade size should be. All that shit should be taken out of the equation for when you're ready to trade. All you need to do is say, it's a trade, medium setup, 3%. Now, again, during summer, 1 and 3% will equal 4%, keeps you under a 5%, and that should be your maximum trade size. If you have a system and you need a little bit of help on classifying it, shoot it over to me. Not the system, just shoot me some screenshots, and I can help you out. Or I can even send you the classification document that we use so that you can take a look at to try and get an idea of how you should maybe be classifying your trades. Okay, so back to this one. AUD USD. This was the trade entry here. It was a buy. Puts are stronger because overall we have a downward trend. The current trend is somewhat shitty. We had a BB squeeze and prices breaking out of it, but then it consolidated on the small breakout. That candle here, again, excellent institutional levels. We had a big round number. If you don't, big round numbers, that right here. Up above, you'll see that's a small round number. It ends with, it has like the 500 in it. This is just zeros across the board. We have a Murray Math. We have a daily support 1 and a daily 50127.2. If we look down here, the hourly 127 to 161 is hit. The only thing I'd say, it's not too overbought, oversold, but by market conditions coming out of this, a 6 would be viable. A 8 would be pushing it. We just had our 8 down here, and we're coming back out of 6. Consolidation here, honestly, on this trade, I would have skipped. This would have been my entry point at 1%. This one I would have passed. Let's see what happens on it. And you got a slight drop down. It didn't hold, really. Again, this should have been your entry candle, and then this should have been recognized as consolidation. What do we... Anyone not know what consolidation is? If we look at the candles, and I'll zoom in a little bit on these. When the market makes a move, a lot of times what it'll do is then breaking it down simply, is it needs time to think what its next direction is. Basically, you have orders consolidating. Remember, what moves the market is where orders are. Everything you see on this chart, and if you're a pure indicator trader, a technical trader, don't focus on arrows, indicators. All these are visual cues to where orders may be sitting. Don't rely on them like it's God. I mean, your chart may look like this, and the person who's actually controlling the market might not see any of this shit. So this doesn't pertain to everyone in the world. It only pertains to you. These are visual cues for you where orders may be sitting. Once price hits these levels, what you should be doing is using a little bit of price action skills. You don't have to be a god in it, just a little bit of skills to see if price reacts. And what do you mean price reacts? Price dropped down here when it hit these levels. It stopped. If price hits these levels and rockets through them, common sense tells us these levels, there's no orders sitting at these levels. Stay out of your damn trade. There's not going to be any magical mystery reversal if price rockets through them. It's not just because you have something on your screen, other people aren't going to see it. Back to consolidation. What it means is here was our move downwards. Now what happens is these orders were hit, they're cleared. So new orders need to be placed. Right now there aren't any, so price just does its thing. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. We basically have a little rectangle here. Consolidation means price just starts going down, no pattern, no formation, no sense to it at all. You'll see this during the summer. That's why the summer is dangerous. Is you'll see a lot of consolidation. Let's see. Other than that, any questions on this one? Why this should have been the entry? Because that was our movement, 1% entry, bounce up. Then we should have been able to recognize consolidation here. This is a sit and wait. When there's consolidation, we sit and wait. Alright, so let's moving on. Close tabs. Next, we're going to get into Forex. Okay, so I'm assuming most of you were here for last week's webinar, or at least watched it. Okay, so again, guys, I'm not going to go too much into the style of trading I do. That will be for week 3. What I'm going to go into is how to control a trade. I'm going to zoom in because we have a potential. I'm not talking about setups here. What I'm going to show is how I control my trades. Let's adjust this. I'm going to put it out at 20 pips. 20 pips is 200 because we're using a 5 decimal point. Okay. So, if you're confused on this, I'm using scripts to place trades. What do I mean by scripts? Over here, I have scripts. Now, what I want to do is place a sell. What I want you to notice, my goal is going to be 20 pips on this trade. Right at 20 pips, what do I have? An H4 support and an H1 support. So what typically being, and I'm a very conservative trader, if price hits this H4 and this H1, do we think it's going to continue down through it, or do we think it's going to bounce back up for a little bit? Most likely bounce. Now what I do is, a lot of people like to use trailing stops, and I'm going to a trailing stop means when price breaks even, then it starts following your price down. I used to like trailing stops, but I'm not too big of a fan of it anymore because what happens is if you get a sharp pullback and then price drops down 50 pips, that trailing stop causes you to lose out on money. The way I trade is I'm using, and these are PZ, I put the link up there. If anyone's bored and they want to Google it real quick, just type in PZ scripts or progressive script and throw the link in chat. If not, I'll do it in a second. I'm using PZ progressive sell. So what do is I click on it, and it's going to ask, do you really want to sell and place 5 stealth orders? What's going to happen now, it's going to place my buy orders, and the first one will go live right away. The second one, these are all pending orders. These are not open orders. So the first thing I need to look at is here's my H4 goal. So do I want these pending orders down here? I don't want the one right on it because it's going to bounce. So what I do is I just right click it and I delete that order out. Thank you, Tony. That's the link for the scripts that I'm using. Now what happens if price, since I'm very conservative, what I could actually do then is remove this order too. What I'm doing is, and we're going to call these rungs in a ladder to make this understandable. Each one of these rungs, I want them to get knocked out as the trade moves down. Why did I remove the one on here? Because if price hits here and bounce, I don't want this order to trigger. This order will close, and I have to adjust this because I'm on a 1 hour, but you can't. Let me move it. This is my take profit. I have to adjust the script a little bit because I'm normally on 4 hour. I'm doing 1 hour so we can get a little more. That red line I just moved is the take profit. So for this trade, my take profit is here. Now what's going to happen next is when when it hits here, this is going to immediately open up another trade, and then I'm going to have a take profit right below this arrow. Now when it hits this arrow, nothing's going to happen. My take profit's going to close. Reason being is we're expecting price might bounce up. If it doesn't, fine. If it drops down, I have 3 more pending orders waiting. Trailing stops are put in on these orders. Well, the script automatically puts in stop losses for you. If we look over here, this is a stop loss, this is a stop loss for these pending orders. I'm using an EA, and we'll get into the EA in a second, and I'll link that one too. I use an EA that goes on my first chart that controls all my other trades. So I already do have trailing stops and take profits built in also. My take profit was set by my EA, not by the script. Everyone get the concept here of the script, why I removed the pending order from around H4 and H1. Hopefully, any questions on it? We're going to look at the script next and how to adjust the price or the lot size that you use in it. Now the script, what it does do, my first order, I have it set up because I'm using a tiny little account today because I wanted to show a live account and what the profits would be. Okay, for the person who asked me to use a live account, I dumped in $15 into a live account. Excuse me. The first trade was 0.02 lots. So right now, this is 2.3 pips in profit, which is equivalent of about 40 cents. Up here, you can see open trade, 1 pips. That's how many pips in profit it is, and that's the actual cash amount you're making out of it. So for, I forgot who asked me to do it, but for whoever asked, that's about the equivalent you get on movements. Now, the ladder that I use, or the rungs, what I do is I start off at a higher amount, and then it scales in at smaller amounts. Reason being is my movement from here to here, the way I see it, it gets weaker, and the chances of me hitting my full risk reward become weaker. So it scales in 0.02, then it drops down to 0.01 because it has no room to scale. We're going to look at the script in a second, and I'll show you how it actually scales. But that's basically how I do my trades from day to day. Again, I'm not getting into how I trade. We'll do that next week. I'm showing how I use the scripts to control it. Okay, so let's say here's the trade, I'm done. The next thing I want to do, I have delete all pending orders. It has to be on the chart you're on. You hit it, and this is how I control the trade. So delete all pending orders. All my pending orders are now gone. My trade is at 80 some cents profit. There's my take profit. I'm going to cut this one short, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm happy with that trade. I got to go piss. I'm done trading for the day. How I control it, and now this is if I have, because typically I'll have 5 to 7 trades running. I just take this drag and drop, close all, put it on here, trades closed. Now if I had 6 trades running, it would have closed all 6 trades. That's when I'm done for the day or news is coming. When news is coming, I close all my trades. That's a lie, but for you, that's what you probably want to do. What I actually do is tighten up my stop losses very tight on news, and that's it. But everyone get the concept there? How to... yeah, I know. If you're starting off, news is coming, you're probably better off. You're better off closing your trades if you're doing intraday trading on Forex. You should be reviewing the news for the day anyway and deciding whether you even want to trade. On a heavy news day, you don't want to be trading. Unless you're a news trader, and then good luck with that shit. Any questions on how I manage this trade? Our first step is to look with using this indicator here with the yellow lines. It's called inlines. It's set for 20 pips. So our 20 pips Yeah, Fridays for me are either Fridays with no news are great days because you'll typically get a trending market. Monday and Friday are my bread and butter for forex because on a no news days on Monday and Friday, we get a lot of trending markets. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are typically more ranging on the smaller time frames, but Monday and Friday I freaking love when there's not news because I will just go to town. I'll typically pull in 7 to 15 trades over about 4 to 5 hours. Okay, so let's take it step by step. Here's inlines. Our goal is 20 pips. So from here, 20 pips is our trade. Can we hit the full 20 pips without running into a wall? What I'm looking for is following momentum to take 20 pips. So if you're new, is there a wall before we hit our 20 pips? I'm giving you a hint by putting the mouse over it. So if you were going to take the order, you could either do it as a single trade down and set your take profit right here. If you're trading like I am with a script, for me this is too close now. The trade that we did take was fine, but as we can see, we have a wall there. However you're trading, if you don't use just H4 support, H1 support, support and resist, if you're using Murray math lines, the inline can visually help you to basically see where your trade's going to go. My goal for this trade is right here to the yellow line, which is 20 pips. I highly recommend using inline. It's a nice indicator I had written because it lets you just jump to a chart and you say, yes, it looks good, and you can say, no, it doesn't. It lets you judge your trade. Let's look at another chart and see if we can find something else. I'm tired of looking at that one. EA I'm using. Did anyone save the Steve Hopwood, the Forex link that they could post that to? I'm using an EA from Steve Hopwood Forex. I'm not going to go over this one next Friday I will. We're going to put the link in there so that you have the time to go read about it. I'm not too big on trying to teach something from scratch. I want y'all to go read. We gave you the script link, and I'm going to give you the EA link so that you can go do them, and then next Friday, then I'll deal with questions on it. This is the EA. Jason just posted up the EA. So if we go into the properties, the EA is called that. I'm not even going to try and say it. Basically, is what it can do is from having it on just one chart. I got the smiley face here. This EA can manage all 30 pairs I have open. Now, what I like about it, and ignore this shit down here, I was trying something out, and it's been on there a week, I haven't removed it. This was my demo account, like I said, but I threw some live money on here so people could see how much money you make off like a $15, $20 account. Reason for that being was Trader's Way offers a $10 or $20 opening, and people wanted to see. Okay, so this EA can manage all the charts. The link is there. Go through, read it, review it. It has all the instructions in it. If you still don't understand it and you've read the forums, then please hit me up. I had someone who somewhat watched last week's webinar. God, I can't even think. I had someone watch last week's webinar and come saying, can you teach me everything? I don't understand it. But then I asked him about something in the video. It does not exist. Boo. I'll find the link in a sec. Or that should be it. It looks like it truncated it. I'll post it on the webinar. When I post the webinar to the forums, I'll post the link to everything on it there, so don't worry about it. But guys, take the time to read through it. Part of you understanding what's on, like I always say, you need to understand what's on your charts. You watching a video and me teaching you is okay, but you need to understand what's on the charts. Let's go in before I forget. Let's go into the script. Oh shit, I have all kinds of crap loaded on that one. This was my test account, so okay. The script. To modify the script, you're going to pick it. I'm using progressive sell and progressive buy. Yeah, I was trying out a trend line indicator that someone showed me because I'm not big on trend lines. Okay, scripts. PZ progressive sell and PZ progressive buy. When you download it from the link, you're going to actually get 5 indicators. Delete all pending orders. Only deletes the pending orders on the chart that you're on. So if you have, sorry, I have hiccups. So right now I'm on NZD CHF. If I have 10 pending orders open on Euro USD, audio is craptastic. Oh, son of a bitch. I wonder if Time Warner is fucking up because of all the storms. Well, this is being recorded, so audio should be craptastic better on that. Deleting pending orders only works on the chart you're on. Let's take a look at the progressive buy. To change the trade size, since these are scripts, you'll need to go to modify. And let me get it, close all but this. Let me bring it over here. Now this is kind of like going into a indicator into the settings. Lot size is right here. All you have to do is edit right here. It's line number 24, lot size. If you change this to 1, it will ignore the lot size and it'll just do it on a percentage. If you're new, you might want to just do it that way. You can just do lot size 1% and you're done. It's going to do money management for you. If for the purpose of this video, I wanted to show point 2, and so how you can see how it scales. Okay, so let's do this, leave it at 2, let's change this back to 0. Okay, so again, line 23, define money management. 0, no money management, it will use your lot size. If it's set to 1, it will use money management, and it will use the risk percent you put in here. It is what it does then is it scales in. Let me go to the cell one, modify, so we can see the same thing here. Money management, lot size, same. It's in the same order, 23, 24, and 23 through 26 basically determine it. If you want to do more ladders than what it comes with, I think it comes with 3 by default or maybe 5, you can add in 10 ladders right there. So 20 defined pending orders, that'll add in 20 steps into your trade. Any questions on the scripts, how to adjust trade size? How to create more ladders? How to turn on so it uses a percentage of your account based. If you're brand new and you're not too good at money management, I highly recommend turn this to 1 and use 1%. If your account's too small, then you may need to disable this and go with a set lot size. Trying to think what else we need to go over this week. This week's basically I'm just giving you a few things. Like I said, the scripts that I use, they're there. The other scripts that I use, and this is just on the side, this is what I use to change my time frames across all my charts. I'll put those in a Dropbox and put it on, but weekly, M5, M15, M1, H4, H1, and D1. All you do is double click this, hit yes, and it changes every pair you have open to that time frame. Change templates on all. I will double check that one, but basically you go into it and set your template. We'll do that one next week, because that way you can quickly flip a template on all your charts to a different one. So let's look for a couple trades. Examples. Let me get rid of the craptastic charts. Again, we are not going to be looking at valid setups. We're just going to talk about how to manage a trade. I'm going to look for some that are running into walls to see if we can find something so that you understand a little bit how I manage trades. This webinar is just basically all about managing the trade. It's not about looking for a valid setup. I want you to understand how to use the scripts. Next week we'll go into how I trade if you're interested. But for now, we're just looking at... I keep wanting to do trades that aren't valid setup. Let me remove Itchy from there and we can talk about this one as a trade. Okay, so here's our 20 pip line. I'm going to go a little bit into how I look at a trade since Itchy's off here. What I'd be waiting for is price to close below the H1 or the H4, and then we'd have a run. Let me extend these out a little bit so we can take a look at something in lines. Let's go to 50 pips. That should put us there so I can give an example. Okay, so 50 pips is down here. That means my goal is 50 pips. What am I going to be waiting for? And this is going to get into a little... I have to do a little bit of how I trade in order to make for these trades to make sense. I'm going to be waiting for price to close. And if you're pure PA, you don't have to stick by this. I want price to close between H4 and H1. When it does, I would open up my trade down. Here's D1. That's my wall. So what am I going to do since we have an Ewok? Son of a bitch. I'm recording it, so it'll be there. Let me see if I can shut anything down. Da, da, da. Tell me if this helps any. I'm going to shut a bunch of crap down. Let's see what else I can shut down. Oh, I know one that might work. Let me close Skype. For some reason, Skype with Chrome has been maxing out my computer. Let me know if that fixes it. Did that get any better? If not, I'll make this the last trade, and then I'll figure out what the hell's going on. It might be Time Warner because we've had a lot of thunderstorms the last 3 days. My internet might be shitty. Any better? I shut down a bunch of crap, but I have a feeling it's my internet. Okay, you can drop out. I'll post this up. I'm gonna do one more trade, and then next Friday I'll make sure everything's good. So I'm gonna be talking, but you can ignore me, just so I can finish out the video. Basically, we're waiting for price to close down below here. When we open up the trade, we have one wall in the middle of the trade, and then we have our take profit. To make sure that this hits, I'm gonna real quick add in 10 ladders. And this is for demo reasons only. Okay, so I'm going to do a sell. And with 10 ladders, it should get us pretty damn close to running into this. So the script's opening up one actual trade, and then it's going to open up 9 rungs on a ladder. The red lines are stop losses. It automatically plots them for you. What we want to be concerned with is price right here around the D1 support. We want to delete this one out. And we probably want to delete this rung out, too. Reason being is this is an unsure area for price. From here to here is going to be a one ladder trade. It's going to be from here to here will be a take profit, and then price is going to run into it. So why did we remove those? Is because we're pretty sure price is going to run down to here, but we don't know when price is going to do from there. If it goes up, not worried about it. If it breaks through that daily 1 support and keeps running south to our 50 pip target, then we're good. Now all we got to do is below our 50 pip target, take out the orders. And I'll zoom in on it in a second so you can see it. Okay, so now we've deleted out. And what we have now is a nice clean trade. And again, this is how I trade. Y'all don't have to do it this way. So what we have here is our first trade with take profit right here, slightly below. That's our take profit right there. Next trade would hit here, and our take profit will be here. This trade will hit here, take profit will be here. And then this trade will open, take profit will be here. But this will not trigger a new trade. It's too close to a support and resist level. So basically, we're going to go into pause. If price bounces back up and heads the other direction, we're fine. We'd lose, worst case, on one trade and not 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of this, we'd have 1, 2, 3. We'd get 4 trades. We have a possibility of losing 1 of the 4. But even with our trailing stop, it's still going to minimize the damage to that trade. Once this trade completes, it goes on pause. If price drops through here and hits these, then we have 1, 2 more trades available to us. That pretty much sums up how I do it, guys. I know we're having audio issues. I honestly think it's because of my damn internet. I'm going to post the recording up. Hopefully that'll be fine. If it's the internet, it's probably going to take a bit. If you have questions, again, ask on the forums. I will post up the link to the scripts I use, to the time frames, and to the EA I use. Next Friday, we'll make sure everything's running nice and fast. Then we'll go into depth on how I actually do trades, and we'll go into depth on the scripts and the EA. Like I said, I basically just want you to read through and learn the stuff for yourself first, and if you don't understand it, then hit me up. It's kind of a pain when people say, watch a webinar and they don't even bother looking at the reference material. it'll help you understand what's on your chart, and maybe you find a better way than doing it than what I'm showing you. Most likely, that's what's going to happen, is you're going to find a better way of doing it than I am. I mean, I'm not perfect. What do we do next? We're done watching this one. We want to do delete all pending. And that's one of the scripts. Yes. Delete all pending is going to remove all the pending trades. All we have left now is our original trade, and there was the take profit that the EA did. If I didn't want to keep this one open, then I would just drag and drop, close all. I'll let it run for a little bit. Other than that, if you have questions, guys, after you've reviewed the materials and the website that I'm going to be putting on the forums, just hit me up. I am more than willing to help you if you've gone over the material. If you just watch the video and say, show me how to use this, this, and this, and I ask you a question about it and it's obvious you haven't read it, I'm sorry, I am going to tell you go read the material. Other than that, guys, have a good one. It is 9 o'clock. That is my quitting time on Fridays. And that pretty much sums it up, guys. Have a